Hi everybody, welcome to the family table. This is our first episode in a series of dinners, desserts, and things that bring everybody to the family table. Family table has changed in the last few years. People are busy, they're running around, but the family table is important. Years ago, my family table was 6. Now it's just me and my husband. Sometimes it's at the breakfast bar, sometimes it's in front of the TV watching the news. But it's always about what you've done today or what you're going to do. It's about conversation and the family being together. So whatever your family table is, whether it's the dining room, the breakfast bar in front of the TV, it's important to continue. I would like to welcome you to my home and how we're going to put some meals on the table for your family. Welcome back, everyone, to the family table. With St. Patrick's Day just around the corner, I thought maybe we should do corned beef and cabbage. The twist here is we're going to use an Instapot. Now, the Instapot is not very instant, but it does cook quicker. Some people think just because they can throw it in the Instapot that they should have it in a matter of a few minutes. That's not the case. How an Instapot would work is you find your recipe, you decide on which, it's a meat or it's a soup, decide on which level you're going to put it on and how long you're going to put it. An Instapot is a pressure cooker. You do have to get the pressure up in the pot and then it starts timing. So it's not so instant, but it is quick. So we're going to start first by getting the corned beef on. In this particular recipe, the corned beef has to cook for 90 minutes. It takes roughly about 10 minutes for the pot to come up to pressure. So it comes out for 90 minutes. So you don't really have to do much. The corned beef comes already done. I use the brisket, and it comes with a season packet because you want that season packet. So we're just going to take the corned beef out. We are going to just sit it here on the cutting board, and we're going to get rid of this mess right now. We're going to take the inner pan of the Instapot. We are going to put in 4 cups of beef broth. That is roughly this whole container. Now, it might be just a tad bit less, but this is a perfect size. Just pour it in. I have the rack in, as you can see, this rack. We're going to put that rack in there because it could help take the meat out afterwards. But it lifts it up from the bottom of the pot. So we got that going. I am going to take an onion. I'm going to take the onion and I am going to cut the onion and I'm going to put that also in the pot. We'll just move this over a little bit. We'll cut the onion. Now I'm going to leave it quite big because it is going to be in that pot for 90 minutes. So I'm not going to cut it or dice it. I'm just going to pretty much wedge it. So we have it left in there whole almost. Just take off the peels. So just get this cleaned up right now. Now, if you have the Instapot, you know that you can also put it for delayed timing. That will always work. It's just like, using your crock pot, only it's quicker. If you don't have an Instapot, you can always use a pressure cooker if you have one. If not, you can do it the old-fashioned way by actually boiling your boiled dinner. You just put your corned beef brisket right on top of all those onions. And the flavor packet, where did that go? Let me just get my hands cleaned again. You're going to open that flavor packet and you're going to put it right on top. Here we go. Just sprinkle it right on your brisket. Take your pot, put it in the Instapot. Take your cover. Oops. Let me make sure I got this cover on right. There we go. Make sure that on your Instapot you have your valve here. Make sure it's on closed because you want to build up the pressure. You're going to put it on pressure cooker and you're going to put your timer for 90 minutes. Now what it will do is it will start cooking. It'll start going down on your time as soon as the pressure is reached. Oh, the sun's shining right on this. I just want to make sure we get the right time here. There we go. So now it's all set. It's on. It's going to say on, and then it's going to wait for the pressure to build up. So it's all set. I can walk away from this. Now, in the meantime, I did obviously make another brisket. It was in the pressure cooker for an hour and a half, 90 minutes. It has already come to temperature. I'm going to take it out in just a couple of minutes, but in the meantime, what I'm going to do is get the vegetables ready for you. Carrots, potatoes, and of course cabbage. Can't forget the cabbage in your boiled dinner. Carrots, we're going to do about a pound of carrots. This is a 2-pound bag, so we're just going to use half those carrots. Just rinse them. I've already washed the potatoes, so the potatoes are all set. I'm going to put that right here. The potatoes are all set. So I like these nice little, look at these little red potatoes. They're mini red potatoes. They're wonderful. You just pop them in. You don't even have to cut them. And I've already washed them. Great. They're already in. Now we're going to take this onion and we're going to cut this onion up. We're going to do the same thing. We're just going to barely, we're just going to wedge it off. That way it's it doesn't disappear after it's been cooking. So do the same thing. Get this all out of your way. Get the peels off this onion. Here we go. Look at that. Oh, come on. I want no peels in my corned beef cabbage. Just like wedge it. There we go. So now that's all set. Then let's not forget the cabbage. It's a nice head of cabbage. Let's see if I can cut it without cutting myself. Oh, let me go the other way. The cabbage, you're going to wedge off too. Like a decent wedge size. Like that. That's good. And then take off that big hunk, the stem. Nobody eats that. But we're going to do that. Now the thing about the Instapot too is you can't overfill it. It shows you where you can go up to, and keep that in mind because it'll take longer for the pressure to come up and all that. So you got your potatoes, you got your carrots, you got your nice cabbage. Now what we're going to do is take the meat out of the Instapot. This has now come down. You need to let your meat come down to the pressure naturally. 10 minutes or longer. Never open it towards you because steam. You do not want that in your face. Unless you want a facial, then I guess maybe you do want that in your face. I wouldn't recommend it. All right, this is not too hot. We're going to take this meat, we're going to put it right over here because we're going to let it rest. Ooh, look at that. It does not want to come off. Okay, look at the onions. We can leave those onions too. I'm going to put it right back in the pot. You're going to take all your carrots, your potatoes, and your onions. You are just going to put it right into this pot. You're going to take your cabbage. I'm going to just take this right here. And you're going to put your cabbage in right on the top. Now, depending on if you're cabbage people, you don't have to put it all in. I like the cabbage. And when you're all done, you can just strain the juice and you can make a cabbage soup. I like that too. You're going to cover the pot again. Make sure it's locked. It's locked. You're going to close your valve so the pressure will build up. In this case, you're going to put it on soup. It's on pressure. And you're going to do 10 minutes. Let me just clear that out because it went right back to the old time. So we only want 10 minutes. Now it's going to take a few minutes to get up to pressure, but you do want just 10 minutes on your vegetables. So let's do, there we go. So now it's all ready. Your thing is locked. Your vegetables are now cooking. You are going to take your meat. I'm going to put it in my warming tray because we do want it to just rest a little bit and stay there. Now, in the meantime, it's St. Patrick's Day. Why don't we make a nice bread pudding with Irish cream? Oh, so good. I like to use, any egg bread actually will work. I use either brioche or challah bread. You can use sweet bread. You can use cinnamon raisin bread. When it comes to bread pudding, you pretty much can use any bread that you want. I wouldn't use sourdough bread though, however. So we'll leave that one out. So let's just start with that. I have a nice loaf of challah bread here. I got this clean cutting board. I'm going to take my challah bread and I'm going to dice it. Here we go. Look at that. Let's make sure that is going on. I'm going to dice my challah bread. I am going to put it in this casserole dish. And the reason why I'm taking this casserole dish with me is because we're going to put it in a water bath. You put it in a water bath for custards or even cheesecakes. It helps it, prevents it from cracking. And since you're dealing with custards, you want it to be firm. Custards can be a little watery, depending on you. I like mine a little firm. So I'm going to take this beautiful challah bread. I am going to slice it. And like I said, any egg bread would work perfectly. So we're going to get this cut up into nice little chunks. And we get this. I'm going to just spray my casserole dish while we're at it. That way I can just throw the bread right in here. Ooh. Sorry, it just takes a while to cut up the bread. I should have had that all cut up for you. But here we go. We're done. I just gotta shut that off. Now we're gonna do the eggs. Okay, it is 4 eggs. I got that right here. I'm just going to put this in a bowl. I love these colored bowls. So my mother's set. She only had 2 left. My mother's passed away quite a few years ago, but I love these bowls. So now let's just get this out of the way for now. Right over here. Got my whisk. I'm just going to get this loosened up a little bit. It is 4 cups of milk, I'm sorry, 2 cups of milk, not 4. We're going to do 2 cups of milk. Preferably whole milk. There we go. 2 cups of milk. One cup of Irish cream. Wow. 1 cup of Irish cream. Look at that. What's not to like about that already? Salt. You're just going to use like 1/8 of a teaspoon. People think that anything sweet shouldn't have salt, but salt enhances flavor of anything, even pastries. This is low iodine salt. You can use whatever you want. This is, we got used to buying this for my mother-in-law. She couldn't have any salt. And you want to do a teaspoon of vanilla. Usually the cap is a teaspoon, so if you do not have the proper equipment here, a teaspoon is definitely not the teaspoon in your silverware drawer. That is not a teaspoon. I mean, it tells you it's a teaspoon. It's not. So now we got this all together. We are going to mix it up. Oh, my thing is... Okay, that's good. We're going to just pour this right over the bread. Here we go. Just pour it right on top. Because what you're going to do is you're going to actually push it all down and get it all mixed up. You're not going to actually mix it, but when you push it down, it's going to get all soaked. Because you want your bread to soak. Now, you have to wait at least, it should sit for 30 minutes in the fridge. So it should sit there. So let's get this all set. And I am going to let it sit because there's no sense cooking it now because it just won't work properly. So you let it sit in your fridge for about a half an hour. And I just need to check my pots here. Okay, this shouldn't be steaming. This should be steaming pretty soon. Okay. A water bath is you put it in a casserole dish or any baking dish. You put it in another one that's a little bit bigger. You fill it with water halfway up and you cook it that way. That way the custard cooks all together at the same time and you're not burning the bottom. So this will have to sit for a little bit and we're just going to move it on the side here. What we're going to do is after it sits for a half an hour, we're going to sprinkle some cinnamon. We're going to push it down again and we're going to sprinkle some cinnamon on it. And then we're going to put it in the oven, let it cook, and let it sit for about 10-15 minutes. And this is what we're going to do with that afterwards. We are going to put whipped cream on the top. Let me just get my whipping cream. And not any whipped cream. We are going to actually put Bailey's in the whipped cream too. So we're going to do this. Get this off to the side. And you know something, folks? I am very sorry, but I forgot to put sugar in it. So it is 1 cup of sugar, by the way, in the mix. I guess I'm going to have to fix that because I want my sugar in it. So I will take care of it later, but I just want you to know that it's definitely a cup of sugar in with the egg mixture before you put it on the butter. I mean, before you put it on the bread. We want a cup of heavy whipping cream. And it's got to be heavy cream, heavy whipping cream, any of that nature, but it's got to be heavy. We're going to put that off to the side. We're going to get our handy dandy hand mixer. I'm sorry, I know I keep checking this, but you can't see with the sun. So we're gonna plug this in. There we go. Hopefully this one's right. I got a mixer that doesn't want to cooperate. Now, it did cooperate with me earlier. Okay, here we go. You want to just mix the whipped cream a little first. You just want to get it a little thick, not too much, because you want to put everything in it first. So we got that just going a little bit. It's a little thick, but we don't want too much. Since I forgot to put the sugar in the bread pot, we don't want to forget the sugar in this. So it will be 3 tablespoons of sugar. And please no clumps, because it's harder for it to work if it has clumps. Just put it in slowly. Don't just plop it in. You want it to be incorporating it while it's going. There we go. One more. All right, that's the sugar. And put a little vanilla in there. And then the Irish cream. Can't forget that. We're going to just stop it there for a minute. We're going to take 2 tablespoons of Irish cream. 2 tablespoons. Don't put more than what it calls for, because you're just going to ruin the flavor of the cream itself. I mean, you want to taste the Irish cream and you want to taste everything else that goes with it, but you also want to taste your cream. So there, we got a little bit of vanilla, got the Irish cream, got the sugar this time. Did not forget that. And now you just keep whipping it until it's stiff peaks. Oh, much better. Now, some people think, you know, turning it upside down. I did that a couple of times and it really wasn't done. And you know what happened to my cream? It was on the counter. So this is done. We got our cream. We got our bread pudding, which will be in the oven. However, I do have one that's already done. Now, our Instapot is not really doing what it's supposed to do, so I'm hoping that it will be on very shortly. But anyways, let's move on. Let's move on to just the bread pudding. Who says you can't have dessert before your dinner? So since my Instapot's not done, and I can't open it up because, you know, you don't want to do that either, let me show you the bread pudding. Now, this is what it looks like done. That was a little sample I took. I had to make sure it was okay. And I got these nice warm ramekins. And again, warm, cold, it really doesn't matter how you serve your bread pudding. But let me just get this out of the way too. Let's go on to the bread pudding. Look at this. Oh, it's so good. So let's put a little scoop in here like this. Oh, look at that. I mean, this is so, and again, bread pudding is so versatile. You can use any bread you want. Look at that. Who doesn't want that? Me. So let me tell you. I'm just going to sample it, let you know. This is good, if I do say so myself. It's wonderful. It's a nice dessert. The Bailey's is actually cooked out because we cooked it. The whipped cream, of course, the Bailey's is not cooked out of it. So just put the regular whipped cream for the children, or don't give them this at all. You can add raisins to this. This is so great. Now, Instapot just went off, so that means our vegetables are done. So we're going to go over here. Now, when you do vegetables in the Instapot, you can release your steam. Now, I would go this way. There we go. Now, the steam is released. You still can't open this until the pressure gauge goes down. So now we have our vegetables done. We have our meat, our brisket. I'm just going to let that steam come out. I got the brisket right here. We are going to cut this brisket against the grain so we can have it all set up here with my fork. Okay, I just need to hold that brisket down. So while that's releasing, we're just going to do this. Look at that. Our corned beef brisket. Oh, it's just falling apart. Again, this is so good. You know, you don't have to have it just for St. Patrick's Day. It's a regular boiled dinner. I mean, obviously you can do the same thing I did with a ham, but nobody says that you can't have corned beef other than St. Patrick's Day. You can have a boiled dinner anytime. If you have extra corned beef brisket left, you can make a nice sandwich. Little Reuben going on there. So let's see how that is doing. Look at that. There's our corned beef brisket. We just got to wait for this to come down a little bit more before we open it up. Our vegetables will be all set. Now, some people like vinegar on their whole thing. I like vinegar just on my cabbage. Some people like put a little mustard on the side because they want to stick their brisket in it. That's not me. However, this is it. When you do the vegetables, just like again, make sure when you open up your Instapot, you open it up away from you. Have that. You got your dinner. You can warm this up in the microwave. You can have this for a while. But there's nothing like a nice corned beef and cabbage dinner. And don't wait for St. Patrick's Day just to have it. You can have it anytime. So let's see how this is going here. Come on. I'm giving it a little help. Never do this with your finger. Always do this with a utensil because you will have steam burns. This is nothing kids should play with. I would not use this as one of those, let's teach the kids how to cook. Not until they're a lot older because of the fact of the steam. It's quite easy to get a steam burn with these pots. There we go. There we go. And you know, you can see the steam going down. You can hear the steam going down. Almost there. Just hear it. I can smell it. And I used to watch the Food Network a lot, and it was Emeril Lagasse. He would always say, "Too bad we didn't have smell-o-vision." Again, be careful when you open it up. Just put this right out of the way. Wow, look at that. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Here's the trick. The trick is getting it out of the pot. It's gonna fall. Oh, here we go. Look at that. We got potatoes, we got carrots, we got cabbage. We got it all. We can get the rest of that stuff out after. But here we go, ladies and gentlemen. This is your St. Patrick's corned beef and cabbage dinner. All ready to go. Now, wouldn't that look nice on your family table?